Well, I just did some research, and I says, the ideal engine for this El Camino would be a 400 small block, but I'm not putting one in if I don't need one. But if I need to get one, I think I'll go that route. And the other reason is, well, there's a couple of reasons. One is, when I ordered a flywheel for this 305, which I thought was a 350 anyway, but it's I knew it was a 305 at the time, but the listing in Rock Auto was wrong. They gave me a 168 tooth flywheel, and of course there's no live customer service anymore. I couldn't exchange it, so I have a 168 tooth flywheel, which is good for the 400. That's the one for the 400. Also from Rock Auto, they sent me the wrong starter. It's also for the 400. So I have the starter, I have the flywheel. The only thing else I would need to change would be the harmonic balancer, which isn't a lot of money. It uses the exact same exhaust manifolds, uses a different Y pipe, but you can still run it with the same Y pipe and same exhaust. So it's not that much more money than a 350. I think the 350 is like $1,700, and the 400 is like a little over $2,400, or maybe it's a little less than that. Depends on where you get it. Also found out that ATX Vega is the manufacturer that's reselling to like Discount Auto, RockAuto.com, AutoZone, and also Eastwood Company, and many others. They sell them under different names. It's ATX Vega. Now, I've had some experience with the 400 because I had a 74 Chevy Impala station wagon, 9-passenger, that I used to run from Camp Lejeune when I was in the Marine Corps up to New York City. And it had a 400 small block in it and a rebuilt Amoco transmission. I remember I put a timing chain in it just to make sure that didn't break on the way back. We'd break it any time and leave us stranded, because if you don't make it back by the time, then you're, unauthorized absence. And I used to run people up there for like no more than $20 a head. I know the other guys are charging 35. I was charging 17 to 20 bucks. That's all I was charging, man. And I got them up there quick too. Pretty much every weekend for like a couple years. Now that car ran fine with the 400 small block, not just going down the highway. Sometimes we're doing 85 or 90 miles an hour. But also worked fine in the traffic. Even in the hot traffic, when it was hot out and stop and go traffic, and we're stuck in traffic for 2 hours or something, it didn't overheat. The reason is, I know they got this thing about 400s runs hot, and that's because they have the Siamese cylinders, but that's not really the reason why. The reason is, if there's a lot of corrosion in the cooling system, they don't really have water jackets between the Siamese cylinders. They have like steam ports. And if they get clogged, then you're going to have hot spots. But otherwise, if they're not clogged, you don't have a problem with it running hot. And I've had personal experience with running it for a few years, and within those few years, I put a lot of miles on that damn thing because, it was 2,000 miles. I know most of it was highway, but there was a lot of traffic because that was at the time when the airplane, the jet, crashed into the bridge by DC. We always had to route traffic all the way around there, and we always had traffic there. So I was, in the summertime, I was in stop and go traffic for 2 or 3 hours going around DC all the time, and it never overheated. So I know the other thing is, you want to make sure it's no more than 30 or 40 thousandths over. But if you get one from ATX Vega, they'd be probably 30 over, so it'd be a 406. But I ain't doing that because I plan to might do that in the future, but I'm not a wasteful person. I'm not going to change stuff. This 305 is fine. I'll leave it the hell alone. I put a 3-foot pipe from the oil pan to my ear, directly on the oil pan, and there's no noises coming out of the bottom end. And I also put it on the bell housing when it was running. And it's my little buddy Onyx. No coughing anymore. He's good to go. He's all healed up. I had the iodine in his water out here, Lugal's iodine. No coughing, including Feather the mama. And it looks like Goldie. Little cat up there. He's in my window. Well, you probably can't see him. He's back there. He's jumping around. He's fine. So, you know, I had no problems with the 400 running too hot. Now, like I said, I checked out that this 305, it was a really, really loud metallic sound, like with the idle, but it was not like exactly like that. It sounded like a clanking or a wrench smacking into something. And it must have been a catalytic converter, and that's why I was losing power, because something internally let loose and it was blocking the exhaust, and that's why I was losing power going down the highway and stuff. And then something broke out of there. I don't know what happened, but I got to take that stupid thing off of there and take a look what's wrong with it. But there's no noises coming out of the bottom end of the engine. I just ordered a Felpro 2-lip seal that's offset meaning that the seal will go in a slightly different position on the crankshaft. So if there's a groove worn into the crankshaft, the offset seal will go into a different portion of the crankshaft and seal it up fine. I just got one of those. I'm going to change out the rear main seal and put in a 1-piece oil pan gasket with new bolts. And I'm going to change out the valve cover gaskets, you know, with some really good ones I got over there just from Rock Auto. I'm going to take out that freaking stupid catalytic converter, see what's wrong with it, and knock out whatever loose part is in there, whatever the hell's wrong with it. I don't know what, but that thing's just a pain in the ass. It's probably just going to be deleted, but I don't know. Put something in there, a muffler or something, resonator, something. But yeah, so I'm not going to waste money, but I think that, you know, eventually I'm going to have to replace this thing. The 400 would be ideal for this because it's not a race motor. It's a truck motor, low end torque, and that would be great with just a 4-speed, because, you know, if you got your gears so you can cruise down the highway okay. I got 308 gears in here, so that's not bad for, it's kind of like a in between, you know, pulling off the line with towing and stuff. But with the 400, first off, you got a lighter weight motor by at least way over 100. I think it's like 150 pounds less than a big block, like a 396 or something. I think a small block's like 420 and a big block's like 570 or something like that. But right there, it's the same size as this. Again, I have the flywheel, I have the starter. I would just need the harmonic balancer, which is not much money. I can reuse the manifolds would fit on there. I just order one. All I have to do is order one for like a 1975 3/4 ton C20 Chevy pickup truck. Give them a number for that, and everything would bolt up. But I'm not going to do that because it's wasteful. If there's nothing wrong with this, that's wasteful. But that would be an ideal engine for this El Camino, because the you know, I wouldn't have to go put a 5-speed in there, make sure the gears are lower or something like that, because I'm trying to tow something up a hill or something like that. Say I'm up in Georgia or Tennessee. With that 400, it's going to have plenty of grunt powers at 2,000 RPMs. It's going to be like a huge jump up in torque from the 305. So I wouldn't have to mess with, you know, getting lower gears or something because I got to pull something up a hill or something. It would do a job, man. And it wouldn't overheat. I had and I was running up and down a highway, and I know the highways the engine keeps cool on that 400 small block 74 Impala back in the 80s, early 80s. That thing, I didn't have any problem. I mean, I was going like 80, 90 miles an hour sometimes. Wasn't running hot. And then I'd get stuck in traffic. And here I'm running that thing. I mean, I'm making a swoop. It's taking me between 10 and a half and 12 hours. If I made it a little over 10 hours, that's like freaking rocket speed, man. What the hell was it? Okay, no, it was 600 miles. I think it was like 550 miles or some shit, like 550. But you had to hold the secondary highways and the traffic. That's what it was, not 1,000. It's 550 from Camp Lejeune up to New York. And, you know, ran that thing, and it never overheated. So I know, I think the reason they overheat, again, is that there's some corrosion in there, and it blocks up. In other words, if you got water jacket in there like the 350 and you get some corrosion, it's not going to clog up the water jacket between the cylinders. But those little steam ports, yeah, it could. Then you'll get the hot spots. But if you're getting a brand new rebuilt, remanufactured engine, the block's going to be all cleaned out. So if you put the right antifreeze in there, it's not going to be corroded. You're not going to have a problem. The only other way you can have problems if somebody swapped out 350 heads and put them on a freaking 400. Then you don't have steam ports, and of course you're going to have the problem. But I never had a problem. I have run the engine for a few years, and I put a lot of miles on it in all kinds of traffic and high-speed highway driving, way over the speed limit, and I didn't have any problems. Never overheated. That would be it's not a race motor. It's a torque truck motor. It's lightweight, same weight as this, gobs of more torque. So, and it's like, I would still keep the sagging on, a little 7.5-inch ring, 10-bolt rear in the back, because I'm not going to like pop the clutch with it. It's just that if I'm trying to start off with the hill, especially if I got the cannon in the back of this damn thing and I'm up in Georgia on a hill, that 400 small block is going to be doing some good. But we'll see. And, but I'm a frugal person and I'm not wasteful. So I wouldn't just get one for the hell of it. If this thing's not broke, I ain't fit to replace it. I'm fixing and repairing, getting away the cheapest way I possibly can. And that's the way we're going to roll. But that is the perfect engine for the El Camino. The El Camino basically is a little truck. And I heard a lot of crap about him too. I mean, most of the stuff you hear is rumors. And this is Feather. This is not the same cat. This is the mama. He had the respiratory and upper infection first, then she had it, and Goldie got it. She's not coughing anymore. There's iodine in there, Lugal's iodine. The crap works, man. I've been putting it in the outside water all the time, but I put in all their waters inside. So, anyway. And, but yeah, for now, I'm just going to, because there's no leaks on this engine other than it's slightly, the valve cover is slightly, little bit, in that rear main seal. So, I changed, because, I did the cam, so I got the new seal for the distributor. I got the intake sealed up good. There's not going to be any leakage out of the back there. The timing cover and all that kind of stuff. So it's, there's only a couple, once I put that rear main seal in there with the oil pan gasket and do the valve cover gasket, the engine's going to be super tight. And I'll run it with Engine Restore. I got a couple cans of that. Right now I got Engine Restore in it, rear sealant, and also Lucas synthetic, plus the Comp Cans braking oil. That's what I've been running in it. But I'll probably run it like that some more because I'm curious if that sealant will seal up the rear seal. I'd like to see that happen, but I don't know. To tell you the truth, there was a couple leaks on that Suzuki there. Transmission didn't seal up right away. I tried some other stuff. It didn't seal up right away. Then I took it on a long trip, 100 miles each way. It was 200 miles round trip. And things sealed up. Then the same thing with the rear. I tried the I forgot the hell the brand of it is. AT4 or something. I forgot the hell the name of it. 204, AT204, something like that. I tried that stuff. Usually that works. And I tried something else, and the other stuff worked. So, and it sealed up the rear. The rear was full too. So I'm not going to change the seal right away. I'll do the valve cover gaskets. Rear seal's a pain in the ass because I might have to jack the engine up to remove the oil pan and crap. Right? I got a lot of shit to do. I got to work on my Canon. But the 400 small block would be the ideal engine. It's not a race motor. It's a truck motor. And this is a truck. If we got a Canon in the back there that weighs 600 pounds, and we're on a hill, I'm trying to start out with a clutch, that 400 is going to come in handy. But I don't need it, but that would be the perfect, correct replacement, because once you put that in there, it's a, you know, this thing was freshened up sometime around 1989. I bought it in 1991. And here we go talking freaking 31 years later, after a slight freshen up. I just put the cam in and stuff, though, you know, did some of the upper end stuff. It's still running fine. So if I spend the money on a 400 and you're thinking, well, it's a waste of money, maybe later, how long is that going to last me? 40 years? I'm going to make it be 100 something years old. We still driving the damn thing, right? So I mean, it's not that much money, you know. And I'll run the HHO on it too. See what kind of mileage I get. Right, girlie? And her cold is gone. She's not coughing at all. Normally she'd be going, Ain't got rid of that shit. Oh well. So all's well here in Kittyland.